just wanted to try that and see how you'd reacted.
Oh, okay.
Went
I was
according
like,
to plan.
I was like, what? have you been told to like? Did Alicia like pass out on his keyboard in this? Is this not even a game now? Is it? Okay.
I'm sorry, I won't do that again.
It's the most interesting of developments because here in the top right-hand corner of Entombed Valley, we have our red Protoss player from SlayerS trying to bring things back to a tie. It is Alicia. And his opponent down in the bottom right-hand corner from Incredible Miracle, LG-IM. Winner of the first game, our green Zerg player, LosirA.
You put up with so much trolling from me, and I respect you for that.
No problem. No problem.
Well, that's a pylon.
That's an interesting development.
Sure is.
Well, we'll see what these guys can offer. Entombed Valley, can't say I'm surprised to see this from Alicia.
No, it's a good choice.
Yeah, pretty solid map there in PvC, especially for the Protoss player. So, although as of late, we've seen Zerg players start to have a lot of success with just kind of allowing Protoss players to kill themselves on a really late game 5 base Zerg player.
Yeah, man, Zerg players are figuring it out, and they have figured out that the answer is spines, spines, and more spines. Basically, what you do is you just take your 3 bases. If Protoss is going for some sort of 2-base all-in, you do your best to defend it. It is still very difficult to do that on this map. But if Protoss goes for a quick 3rd, as they often do lately, what you do is just take a quick 4th, build a ton of spine crawlers, and then just from that point, get your late game tech going and slowly sort of work your way base to base around the map. Not too quickly, but quickly enough that you don't ever run out of resources completely, but slowly enough that you can transition all your army from base to base. And like you said, a lot of Protoss players will just kind of keep throwing themselves at it until they're dead. We've seen it a couple times already in GSTL, in our tournament, in Team Arena Challenge 3. So I feel like, yeah, it's not the greatest map for Zerg, but Zergs are starting to figure out ways to kind of cope with it at least.
Okay, well, LosirA does decide to forge first up at the front on Entombed Valley. Nexus coming down shortly thereafter. LosirA thinking about just moving over and taking a 3rd. No, decides to come back and just attack this pylon with 2 drones there. A couple additional Zerglings coming out to help with that, but Alicia was ready to go ahead and block this 3rd as well. Kind of wondering now why there's not a drone over there.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like LosirA just doesn't really like taking his 3rd base location for his natural, and on this map I can't blame him. I mean, it's perfectly fine to do this and get your hatchery on like 20, 22. 22 is a little bit later. Usually you see Zerg players squeezing it out on a 20 supply, but this isn't going to slow him down all that much. I mean, we saw a situation last game where things were a little bit slower too, but in the end, you know, it didn't really hurt him all that much. And that'll be the same case here. I love that he's immediately going to work on the rocks. If you go to work on them that early, you can often break them down at a pretty decent time.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly going to want that as well. You know, just the ability to connect those bases up with creep against a Protoss player who can kind of just section off this part of the map and do pretty considerable damage off of 2 bases very early on is certainly threatening and something LosirA is going to have to look out for. Nexus just finishing up for Alicia now and continuing on with his normal tech. 2 gas back at his main, cybernetic score coming down. Hasn't really tipped his hand quite yet.
Yeah, you never really know until the Cybercore finishes what the Protoss is going to do. I mean, if the Cybercore finishes and you don't immediately see Warp Gate research, you can expect, you know, probably Stargate at that point. Otherwise, well, occasionally Robo, but usually it's going to be a Stargate if they don't get Warp Gate research right away. And then you kind of look, if it's not an immediate +1, then it's probably going to be Robo. So you got to kind of wait for that Cybercore to finish. So I know you're excited. I know you're excited, Kevin, but be patient. The Cybercore is almost done, and then we're going to find out what Alicia's got planned.
Oh my God!
There it is.
It's
Stargate.
A Stargate. Yeah, well, I mean, he didn't decide to put a +1. He wasn't. He's only sitting on 2 gas, and it was only putting up that 1 zealot for the time being. So Sentry finally following this up now, but he wasn't investing in +1, so he's making that gas for a reason. We'll see if he goes over to gas 3 or 4 here in just a second. Or let's actually see. Is this Overlord seeing the Stargate? Yes, it did.
Looks like he did. All right, so he kind of knows. He's making 2 more queens already. So that's fine. Actually, what were those? That might be, I might just have my timings messed up, but those might actually be his first queens as well. But
look at that. And less than 6.5 minutes in the game, just by being diligent right at the beginning with 6 Zerglings. He takes down those destructible rocks and has a lot easier reinforcement path now in case he comes under fire.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So 2 more gas on the way. There is a Void Ray as well, so that's going to be probably followed up with a couple Phoenixes to put some pressure onto LosirA. But you know, like you said, it really, really helps to get those rocks down super early. I mean, what you sacrifice in that situation is a little bit of early game map awareness. If they're sneaking like a really quick pylon near your base or something like that, you're not going to find it quite as quickly this way. But as it is, he's able to connect those bases with creep if he wants to fairly quickly and have a better chance of reinforcing if he needs to.
When in doubt as a Protoss player, Stargate apparently. When in doubt if you're genius, double Stargate. But
that's right. Stargates are good.
Seems to be the order of the day for SlayerS Protoss players.
Well, I can't wait till Heart of the Swarm when we see if Protoss players really do transition to a more Stargate-centric play, you know, using the Tempests and the Oracles and things like that. That'll be kind of cool.
All right. Well, Overlord is, well, that's actually 2 sacking Overlords there, and unfortunately this one's not going to find anything out of the ordinary. It is a second Void Ray popping out, as we mentioned before, and LosirA could have seen that because it does show the image of what's being warped in on a Stargate, so it should have been revealed.
So with this going on right now, LosirA is going to know that there's a fast third for Alicia. He's going to be able to push back this Void Ray fairly easily. And if he wants to, take a quick fourth. Most Zergs would want to take a quick fourth in this situation. And he's got enough queens out right now that he can keep his bases fairly well defended with spores, and he can kind of push out and take that. The only thing he needs to kind of worry about a little bit is this +1 that's finishing up for Alicia, so that could mean a little bit of gateway pressure at that fourth, along with reinforcing this third for our Protoss player.
Okay, so, I mean, this is about as typical as Entombed Valley has been recently. I mean, we're moving towards the very late game pretty early on. As we can see, it's going to be a total of 6 gates with a robotics facility already and Stargate in place to eventually move up to Fleet Beacon and thus Mothership as the game wears on. Oh, nice job snagging a couple of Creep Tumor kills there with that Void Ray. And just continuing to be as annoying with it as he possibly can. Now may die, certainly has to run that away.
Yep. This Queen's trying to stutter step their way toward the Void Ray, but they're silly. They're not Marines. They're Queens. They can't stutter step. Well, you can, but it's kind of funny and not very effective.
Yes. It would have been funnier, though, if all of their attacks were just the whatever antennae that were coming out and just poking people all the time.
Yeah, I know, man. I want to see them poke with, like, their giant, like, rubbery spike arms, you know? I thought that was what the ground attack was going to be, but nope.
I actually wish it was for the air, too, so.
Yeah. See, the Queens essentially are just kind of like big Hydralisks that can't attack quite as fast or do as much damage, but they can cast spells.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But Hydralisks aren't much faster than them, so, you know.
Anyway. That's actually true. Wah, wah. Oh, we lost a Vespin, guys, or an Extractor, I guess.
Still annoying. Not as annoying at this stage of the game when he's not banking up all the gas in the world. But
he's gotten a lot of mileage out of those Void Rays, though. He's done some decent harassment with that.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Overseer gets a pretty good look at about everything there. Alicia now sitting comfortably on 3 bases. Robotics bay underway. +1 armor going to finish up soon. And he does have Blink and, of course, that eventual transition to Colossi coming very soon. And he's going to get a little more mileage out of these Void Rays as he does have the Observer sitting overhead, picking off some Creep Tumors.
Yep, that's going to be kind of annoying for Alicia to have to deal with as well, and that he's going to need to send some Queens out to try to repopulate all those Creep Tumors. And the Queens are coming right now. There are quite a few of them, and yeah, Alicia's immediately just going to run away, still not losing any Void Rays at all. So LosirA just going for that late game tech. He's got Hive on the way. He's got a bunch of upgrades that we can see Burrow and the Infestor upgrade, +2 armor, +1 melee, and a Baneling Nest even on the way as well. LosirA does like his Banelings, but you know, with the creep spread being reduced, with the fact that his opponent is very solidly on 3 bases, I think we're going to see LosirA just kind of play this one pretty passive for the rest of the game.
Well, we'll find out. I mean, he does have Hive and that Spire just finishing up now, so Greater Spire going to be underway soon. Baneling Nest just finished up, and all the relevant upgrades. Oh, and Ventral Sacks just started as well, so maybe some Baneling drops going to be used in with this army here in just a bit.
That's not an expensive upgrade. I think it's always good to just kind of get in this later game situation where you're spending money and trying to, you know, plan for any sort of possibility, and Baneling drops, I feel like, are really overlooked. We actually used to see Zerg players try them quite a bit in the GSL last year around this time, maybe a little bit earlier than this time. A lot of Baneling drops on mineral lines on maps like Terminus and things like that, and Crevasse. But I feel like that could come back at some point. If anyone's going to bring it back, it's going to be LosirA.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Sentries.
Almost manages to grab one, but does force a lot of energy out of them. Corruptors and Roaches now joining the field, and Greater Spire's underway. Fleet Beacon just about to finish up for Alicia. I remember about a year ago when we would have been like, oh my god, it's a Fleet Beacon! Nowadays it's just like, oh yeah, standard late game PvC, mothership time. But
if you're going to be going up against Infestor, Broodlord, Corruptor, you're going to definitely want a mothership. And Alicia, not one to break with tradition in that regard. And here he comes. It's a lot of Stalkers, a lot of Sentries as well. Colossi, Immortal, Void Ray. That is a powerful army from SlayerS Alicia. He's still about 30 supply down. A little bit early to move out in supply, and he is kind of building up some money there too, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, he's got upgrades to spend it on and things like that, but his infrastructure maybe wasn't quite where he wanted it to be. I guess he would have 400 less resources right now because he tried to put down a Nexus, but Zergling was blocking that pretty effectively. Yeah,
I'm a little bit surprised that that he hasn't gone over and taken that out yet. I mean, is this a little bit late to take a fourth as a Protoss player in this situation? I mean, he kind of... Oh, the dreaded Void Colossus. It's when a Void Ray and a Colossus merge, it becomes a Void Colossus.
Dun, dun, dun. Well,
who's this guy? Complexity RSVP? Look at those cannons.
Yeah, I know. Just needs about another 75 or more.
Ooh, here we go. It's like I was talking about it. If anyone's going to bring it back, it's going to be LosirA.
And it looks like he may be timing at the same time to draw his opponent's attention away. We'll find out.
Oh, the Void Rays. The Void Rays. They're going to find the Overlords, and they do. Oh, man. What great map presence by LosirA. Oh, no, it dies before the Banelings get out. Okay, this Overlord's like, I'm going to succeed.
Some units tried to run up to the top as well. I wanted to mention that before these dropped in. A little bit of economic damage done. A lot of those probes, though, in fact, 7 of them only took 1 hit there. We weren't quite upgraded enough. At the same time, it looked like LosirA was trying to push in, though. His whole army was moving up through the front, so I wanted to take a gander at that.
Oh, speaking of harassment, it's coming now from the side of Alicia. Zealot's like, we don't want to be involved with that. We're going to just cancel this instead.
Spine crawlers are like, no, wait, hold on just a second, please, come on.
Looking that direction. They're like, oh, we missed our chance, guys. All those Zealots.
Yeah. Well, Queens up at the front are going to go down. Alicia has been doing a very, very good job. Oh, actually multitasking. So he's going to try and take out this Greater Spire. Some units.
Yeah, man.
Oh, they're not able to get in.
Transfuse. Banelings. Oh, they can't get in. They actually can't get in. Alicia needs to start fungling these Zealots if he wants to save his Greater Spire. He needs to do something. The Greater Spire getting a lot lower right now. It goes down.
All right.
Oh, so Alicia has 1 Broodlord on the way, but that is going to be about it for a while. Only 4 in total if you count the one that's morphing. That's not as many as you'd want to have.
Okay, well, Alicia has been pretty effective up to this point. Going to be sitting on 4 bases, 2 his opponent's 4 bases as well. Has that mothership sitting overhead, plus 3 weapons. He is looking very good. A lot of High Templars sitting around just waiting to be turned into Archons. So Alicia is just playing this to a hilt.
Yep, that's right. What's that coming around the left side of the map on the mini-map there? What is that? Okay, a little bit of a Roach squad moving out. Try to do some damage. There are some Banelings up there as well. If he can clear out some of the defensives at the 4th, he might be able to just like run Banelings in when Alicia's not watching. That could kind of get him back in it. He's not, totally out of it yet, but his gas income is a little bit lower than he would like at this point. He's having to spend a lot on infestors and upgrades, and he isn't really able to bank a whole lot at this point. But LosirA there showing us that he understands how to play ZVP on this map. Just get a ton of spines. Play turtly.
Greater Spire's coming back up, but it's still 100 seconds away, so it's going to be quite a while before that's going to be a factor again. And LosirA just sitting on 163 supply as he waits for those to come back up. Oh, Immortal's going to make very short work of these bases here, and he will be able to drop in at the exact same time on this one, too.
Wow, Alicia's so good. That is so awesome. Letting the Immortals kill that base and then warping in some Zealots as well. Now he's going to be able to go and pick up the Immortals yet again. Oh, there are some Corruptors there, so this may backfire a little bit. He's got to get out of there, man. Oh, he actually just leaves the Immortals. I mean, I suppose you have to, but
yeah,
I feel like he actually could have gotten away there.
I mean, as we can see, he has warp speed or warp prism speed finished up, so he could have gotten away. So
now he's just going to lose these very expensive Immortals.
Maybe he wants to replace it with a few additional Archons or something like that at this point. If he was able to pick off a couple of Infestors, would have been a little bit more worth it, but not too much done by those Immortals other than just the 1 base kill.
Yeah, I could have targeted down maybe 1 or 2, but as it is, he did cause a cancel, like you mentioned, so that's okay. Greater Spire now going down for Alicia as well, expanding just as rapidly as his Zerg opponent is. But it's just one of those situations where it's so tough to attack into this as a Protoss player. You do really kind of have to try to sort of either hope your opponent moves out and makes a mistake, or just kind of harass them to death. And look at this. LosirA, always one of the best players out there in StarCraft 2 at this style of play, is going for a Nidus Worm as well. LosirA is easily one of the best Nidus users in StarCraft 2. He understands how the mechanics of it work.
Gained a reputation for it on Taldra in ZVPs for a long time.
Yeah, not just with all-ins, though. I mean, he's always been really good at using them as just sort of what they're meant for, which is to move units between bases, too. Not a lot of probes there, but he's got to send him in anyway. That didn't work out. Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting situation because Alicia has been just, well, pretty far ahead at a lot of points in this game, but he's got 5 Stargates coming up now. He's got +1 air weapons, and we may be seeing that carrier switch here in just a bit when an eventual attack comes. But he's allowed LosirA to set up just this ridiculous spine crawler forest. How many does he even have on the field right now? That's 2 pages, and I don't think I have all of them. So
I don't think so either. A lot of Stalkers coming down here to try to maybe cancel a few more bases and blink out if need be. And oh, look at this. You can actually blink across that?
Yes, you can.
Oh, interesting.
Let's
see. Wow, you can. Okay. Yep. I didn't know you could blink across there from the main to the third. That could be something that is usable in the future here.
All right.
Looks like Infested Terrans trying to take out that Nexus. And then back into the Nidus Worm. Yeah, LosirA showing us how it's done with Nidus play.
Okay, well, it looks like... Oh, but look at that. The mothership actually sits overhead. Has to make sure that it doesn't take too much damage, but these Infested Terrans are going to go down in a second. The mothership taking some damage. That wasn't going to sit there long enough.
Alicia taking some damage on that mothership, actually.
Look at that, though. Oh, at the same time, we had another Nidus play, more Infestors dropping down over at the Nexus. This is a ridiculous game. That was a really good play. Really smart heads-up play by Alicia to keep his Nexus and his mothership alive right there, though, I have to say.
Yeah, definitely. But look at all those Infested Terrans. Oh, LosirA needs to get those Infestors away. Those are expensive, man. You can trade energy for units, yeah, but you don't want to trade expensive Infestors for units. But look at this, killing off some Stalkers. And, you know, even though he's going to lose all of those, again, that's energy for resources. That's a good trade.
Doesn't get too much of consequence. Oh, this Dark Templar should be going after this hatchery. Looks like it's going to take down a couple of drones on the way up, but it's very close to finishing off the hatchery. There we go. Alicia realizes it. Is the DT going to die, though? Oh, he saves it. Oh, my God. Just 42 hit points.
Wow. Okay, so that base still in it. And this game has suddenly gotten very, very tense. +2 air weapons on the way now for Alicia. No sign of carriers just yet, but he does have the resources to make them once he does loosen up a little bit of supply. I don't know if he should make carriers. I kind of feel like he shouldn't, but Squirtle has shown us that they do work sometimes.
Yeah, that is true. And given the right situation, we've heard some players say that they're actually a little bit underrated. But we'll certainly see if this is that kind of a situation. Alicia may be thinking about taking yet another base here. This is seeming like one of those all too familiar Entombed Valley games where we're just going to be mined out in a bit.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think this is going to be how a lot of games on this map look in the future, because Zerg players are just saying, you know, why do I even need to try to attack? Why would I want to attack into the third base area of this map against Protoss? Protoss just can defend it way too easily. So I'm just going to sit back and make them attack me, and then suddenly I'm the one, you know, with the quote-unquote advantage. So looks like Alicia deciding that he does want to be a little bit aggressive, maybe just kind of hampering the creep a bit, but could decide to do more.
And full energy on this mothership, so there's plenty enough for a couple of recalls if he wants. Also, vortexes on top of that, so Alicia can afford to posture out on the map like this. Deny creep, make sure that he's kind of keeping his opponent at bay, because he can always just recover his forces almost immediately.
Yep, that's right. Recall is a very valuable tool. We saw players like Kiwikaki actually show us how good recall can be in games all the way last year. Taken a long time for Protoss players to figure out the correct use of the mothership, but now that they have, it's become like an invaluable part of the army, especially in the Zerg versus Protoss matchup.
All right, well, oh, I'm sorry, that was just a group of changelings. It's a changeling attack.
Those are.
Oh, very nice reaction time from Alicia, though. He drops down the Zealot just in time, and he should be able to keep all of these Zerglings at bay. The Zealot is dying pretty quickly, but the Zerglings aren't going to be able to get in and do all that much damage. In fact, almost none.
A little bit of scouting, and he will see, he'll see a lot of those Stargates too. So what are we going to see from our Zerg player? A lot more Corruptors possibly coming out here in the future. more harassment with those infested Terrans, but he needs to get back there before the Nidus Worm is out.
Yeah, we have a base trading for a base here, though. Looks like this hatchery is going to fall. Another one trying to go down here, but Alicia, unfortunately, LosirA had vision up there and a little bit of range, so the Spine Crawlers did their work. Oh, but the infested Terrans take out a Nexus as well.
Very nice. That's not bad at all. That's a really good use of that. And the infestors, I believe, did escape, didn't they? Yeah, they did.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, he just needs to make sure that he doesn't lose his main Nidus, of course, because then he would lose all the infestors inside of there. There is one carrier on the way right now for Alicia. He can afford one.
Well, you know, okay, a little more supply going down, and he does have a second now. Quite the bank as well. But not really the gateway farm that I would have expected as well. Just going to just really power ahead with carriers when the time comes. And it looks like we may have that engagement. A few Corruptors dying without doing really any damage, though. Mothership still at full shields.
Yeah, man, Alicia needs to be so careful about how he engages this. There are a ton of infestors out right now. Doesn't matter if your Mothership has a cloaking field, if there's fungal growth in play, because that reveals everything. And yeah, Alicia making the right call to move back. He would have lost that fight, certainly, if he would have tried to continue to press that. +3 air weapons on the way, as well as carriers. Meanwhile, the upgrades for LosirA looking equally scary, getting +3 missile attacks, +3 flyer carapace, and +3 flyer attack. So he's going to be in great shape when it comes to those Broodlords and things like that. Corruptors as well are going to need that attack and upgrade.
I'm just so worried about these carriers with that sheer number of infestors out there. I'm just imagining a few fungal growths and all interceptors dead. Inceptors, that's not Christopher Nolan directing this game, so
that's right.
You know,
Inceptor.
Yes.
Now, a little bit of a push here from LosirA, kind of pushing ahead with those infestors. Needs to be careful not to lose those, though. Those are very valuable.
All right, well, Broodlord sitting overhead, not really under any direct fire as well. We have a few forces running down to the bottom right-hand corner as well. Just Zealots trying to make their way out, but this is the brunt of the action. Yeah, it is.
Wow, all right.
It's a little insane. He's starting to sack a couple of them as he uses their energy. It's a strange concept to me, sacking infestors, but that's essentially what happened to a degree, so he can put up more Corruptors and Broodlords.
Well, he knows it's going to be a largely air-oriented force from his opponents, so he can kind of afford to do that.
Ooh,
does
pretty
need
good
fungal supply.
Yeah, catches a lot of units there, and I'm not sure if Neural Parasite has been researched. It has, but he hasn't been able to catch that Mothership. If he can, that would be a pretty big win because he'd be able to use some of those of that energy off of there.
There it is.
2 Vortexes dropping down. They don't capture a ton of units, though.
Yeah, they could have been a lot better. Alicia's going to try to capitalize on that. He's going to dump a lot of units inside there, but only about half. This may not have worked too well. Oh, a lot of fungals going off. And here comes the rest of the units.
Yeah, I'm a little scared for Alicia at the moment. He's taking some pretty considerable losses there, and the Mothership does get knurled, so we'll see if that's enough to allow some units to catch up and start dishing out some anti-air damage against that.
Yeah, those 3-3 Corruptors are going to be 3-3 in just a moment, are going to be so scary. The Mothership goes down. Only 2 carriers out right now, 6 on the way, but will they have enough time to build the infestor count to handle this?
It's actually 6 Void Rays on the way. He's not even producing any more carriers at the moment, so Alicia kind of in a scary position right now, but doesn't have the gateway farm to really just remax on a ton of forces. Even just a few Blink Stalkers right now would certainly help.
Well, yeah, out of the gate, I mean, Void Rays are just going to be like cost for cost more effective and efficient than carriers right now. Still single target DPS, but you don't need to build the interceptors with a Void Ray. You can just start attacking.
Okay, well, he's got to make sure that all of these infested Terrans are gone. A little bit of energy there. Okay, still a fair number of infestors up, but man, that is a pretty staggering air force already for LosirA, and he's going to continue pushing this back, and those Void Rays alone aren't going to be enough.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, maybe if he had been producing Void Rays for a while, it would have worked, but these are 3-3 Corruptors against, I think, 3-0 Void Rays. And there's a fungal on a lot of the Stalkers. There's some of the infestors going down, but there's so many Broodlords. GG.
Oh, man. And LosirA takes that game when I thought that Alicia really had a lot of opportunity there. He was stretching his opponent's multiple